You're listening to the Run for Your Lives podcast.
Hey everyone, welcome to the show. I'm Daphne.
And I'm Pake.
And this is the Run for Your Lives podcast.
This episode is the direct-to-video monster film Tremors 5, Bloodlines, directed by Don Michael Paul and released October 6th, 2015. Yeah, you heard it right. It is that time again. We have reached the end of a season. We still have the look back next week. We still have something special coming for you that we will tell you what it is when you listen to the look back episode. So you still got to wait another week.
Yes. I'm so excited to release episode 100 because we actually recorded it just a little bit ago. I'm looking forward to hearing what you guys think about it. And we had a lot of fun with it. Hopefully you guys will enjoy it as well.
Mm-hmm. But as I've said, since it is the end of a season, you know how we always have to finish. The last movie we cover in a season is Tremors. It's how we started, and we've stuck with it as we get through them, even though there's only 2 more left after this. So they kind of need to work on some more if they're going to be doing some more. I don't know. We'll have to see.
If they don't, Pake, we could do the TV series.
We could. And I might totally want to do that.
And I'm okay with that. I feel like we have to. Because I don't want to stop this tradition of Tremors. I feel like it's just something to look forward to, because when we first started this, I had only ever seen the first movie. I had never seen any of the others. So I don't watch them still until we get ready to record on them. So it's like a first watch perspective when we talk about it.
And it's definitely not my first watch on any of them, but that's okay.
Peg, did you put the DVD in your PlayStation to watch it? Or did you find it streaming?
Indeed. No, I have it on Blu-ray. It went right in the PS5.
Excellent. That's what I would expect.
Mm-hmm.
That is awesome. Well, this one, there is so many different things about this movie to talk about. It was just so funny. But before we get to that, I'm just going to go through a few production notes. There weren't tons on this movie, but I have a couple. So Tremors 5 was filmed in South Africa. It was released 25 years after the first Tremors film and 11 years after Tremors 4, The Legend Begins. There's no budget or box office info available because it was a direct-to-video release.
Yep, as they all will be from this point.
Yeah, it's okay. I think they should have a Tremors festival where they show all the movies. They are.
Yeah, actually, I did see something recently. I had to look it up and make sure. But yeah, apparently there's this post here. It says there's going to be the first ever Tremors Film Festival sometime next year in Santa Fe, New Mexico. For the first time ever, the films 1 through 7 will be shown together on theater screens. So it is happening. I don't know exactly. There's not an official date, but there's different places you can kind of try to stay tapped into what's going on. I'm going to try to do that because I'm going to pay attention to that. That could be really fun.
Yeah, that's not that far for you.
You'd think.
Not really.
But
oh, I know, but you're in Texas, which is really massive.
Yeah. New Mexico is probably as far away as Pennsylvania is, honestly, in distance. It seems closer.
Goodness.
Seems closer on the map looking at it, but actually to drive across Texas to get there, I might as well be going up to New England. It's Texas is huge. For real.
Well, you could fly over.
Right. But yeah, but like I said, the first time all of them will be together. there's not much other said about what's going on, like if they're getting any cast or anybody there or how official it is, but it's happening as far as I know. They're planning it, so I will keep an eye on that.
You should. I feel like it would be fun to do a podcast from there.
Yeah.
Seems like it would be right up a certain podcast's alley to do a podcast from there, right?
Maybe.
I don't know.
Just possible.
Maybe.
Especially if there were cast members and people there that we could get interviews with. Just throwing things out in the universe. You never know.
Yes. Yes. I feel like we just came up with something really cool in the last 2 minutes.
Yes.
You know us at Run for Your Lives. We always come up with something interesting. Even in the opening of our podcast, you never know what we're going to talk about.
Right.
Well, this movie was 99 minutes long, and I feel like our opening to the podcast has been about as long. So, Pake, why don't you give us a synopsis?
All right. This one's easy and to the point. Bert, the lovable, wonderful Bert Gummer that we all know, and newcomer Travis battle ass blasters and graboids, this time in South Africa.
So now they've gone to another continent.
Uh-huh.
This is even more entertaining than usual.
They've gone to South Africa. So.
Oh, man.
Yes.
There was so much about this movie that I really enjoyed. I look forward to doing the Tremors films because there's always something fun about them. They don't take themselves too seriously. And there's plenty to enjoy. You can just sit back with some popcorn. I feel like the prep for the podcast is also not as intense. It's really relaxing. And I always look forward to the fun conversation we're going to have about it.
Oh, yeah. So, speaking of that, let's jump into that fun conversation.
Okay.
And all right. As people know, we like to break it down by characters. Although we didn't do that with the first Tremors movie, I'm pretty sure, because we hadn't found our groove yet. But that's okay.
No, we didn't. Well, Peg, that was our first episode. And I have not listened to it since. I think it goes without saying that podcasters, when they edit their own podcasts or after finishing the recording, I don't know. I don't like to go back and hear my own voice. It's just
not a fan
how
of
I
it
am. I feel like it would be fun to go back and listen to that one just because we could see how far we've come. But I'm not going to do that anytime soon.
Yeah.
Just saying.
All right, but if you want to go back and listen to it, and if you haven't, then definitely do that.
Yes, please.
We have fun with Tremors. So yes, let's jump into it. I mean, obviously, we know where we have to start. The man, the myth, the legend, the real Bert Gummer.
The only character to be in the first 5 films.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't done 6 and 7 yet, so I'm not going to spoil them. But he's the only thread amongst the first 5.
Yep.
I really loved his trip down the graboid evolutionary chain.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we see he's got himself a web show that he's running. He's sharing his expertise on the world of graboids. And I like the little throwbacks, like, you know, in the animated graphics and things. Like he's showing like the little girl on the pogo stick, reference to the first one, and having that, you know, talking about the inside of a graboid and how it works. And he's like, and it's a terrible venue. Trust me, I've been there. It's great. And then, yeah, like you said, kind of running through like the graboid life cycle, which we've seen throughout all of these movies so far.
We have. I feel like in each one we get something a little bit different, and this one was no surprise. I mean, we did get something different.
Mm-hmm. And then aside from just a web show talking about survival with graboids, he's just talking about survival in the wilderness in general, and he's even got his, you know, he's manufacturing and selling his own food products on his show. We've got, you know, Bert's Bullseye brand cactus juice marinade and prickly pear glaze, which is great on fresh desert cooked rattlesnake, apparently.
Yeah. Peg, would you be in line to try those?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, I'm not sure I would be. I don't know what Bert put in them. It could be anything. I'm not down. I'll let you taste test it.
Right. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say his stuff is not FDA approved because he doesn't want the government getting involved at all.
No, definitely not.
Yeah,
No,
of course.
That's the Bert we know and love.
Right, exactly. Yeah, that's Burt Gummer for you. Which, out secluded in where the hell ever. What is it? What the hell? What does Travis call it?
What the hell, Nevada?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah,
should have marked that down, but I didn't.
Yeah. I thought for sure I thought you would, so I didn't.
Yeah, just being out there doing his own thing. Which I was like, man, for him being such a hard man to find, the fact that two quote unquote big fans run up on him in the desert in the same day is quite remarkable, huh?
Yeah, I'm not sure how that happened because I feel like Bert doesn't want to be found when he's off shooting his little adventures. Yeah, I don't think that he's not got a flashing light. There's not a beacon like you would have if you were looking for Batman.
Yeah.
Like, there's nothing to draw you to him in the broad daylight.
Yeah, but they track him down, and those two people, of course, are Travis B. Welker and then Eric Van Vick.
Oh, man.
One is a rogue videographer, and the other he works for the South African Wildlife Federation, apparently.
Ministry. The ministry, yes.
Well, he uses both. Yeah. He says both because neither of them are real. Spoiler alert.
No. So you can flip back and forth. It doesn't matter. They sound really catchy. Like, they sound like they must be real. When someone comes up to you and tells you who they are, don't just go with them. You might want to look into them before you do. I don't know what Bert was thinking.
Bert was thinking, ass blasters, I'm going to go kill him. That's what Bert was thinking.
Of course. Yes.
Because he was skeptical at first, and then it was like, they're ass blasters because this and this. And he was like, well, then what are we waiting for? Let's go.
Yeah. He was down for the ass blasters. That's what he wanted to do. I don't think he was super happy when he got there and found out they wanted to capture one.
Yeah.
They didn't want to kill it.
Yeah, capturing and not killing any kind of graboid or its gravolutions, should we call them as? Yeah. That's a really bad idea.
In a history of bad ideas.
It's funny that I made that reference because if you know what movie that's from, there's more of that coming.
Yes.
Strangely enough, I made that joke, and then later watching the movie, going, it is serendipitous that I referenced that movie.
Yes. Those little things, those little details, I wondered if you would catch them because they stood out to me as well.
Yes. Yeah, and things just, but once he gets there and realizes, Gummer not having the weapons that he wants, never good. Can't get him there and then be like, oh yeah, but we confiscated all your weapons and you have to wait 3 days. So here's what we have. It's like, no, we have seen in his movies, he is prepared with the weapons he knows he needs. People always struggle to listen to Burt Gummer. Well,
because he knows what he's talking about. Why do you go get an expert and then you don't want to listen to them? Because Johann Dreyer, he was one of the biggest dicks in this movie.
I loved him so much.
You did?
I did.
I couldn't stand him.
He's got such a cool toughness to him and sarcasm. Is he a little he's a little too cocky? Absolutely, but that's what makes him so fun to me.
Oh my gosh, I couldn't stand him because he's that guy in the movie that thinks he knows everything.
Right.
He gets into this dick measuring contest between a gun and a rifle. What's better? And then he's happy he's there with his tranquilizer gun, which Bert has to tell him, well, it's useless against them. They're immune to it. But they still didn't seem to understand what was going on, and Bert has to tell them, if you've got ass blasters, you've got graboids, because it goes all the way back to the start of the movie, and you go through the evolutionary chain, you know that's true.
Yeah.
And I did love also Bert's bonding experience with Den Bravers.
Yeah.
They were two peas in a pod. They got each other so well.
Yep. When the sun rises in Africa, you better be running.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. And I do like that Bert, maybe all of his guns and stuff he didn't get, but he did have some other equipment he brought. I love his heat signature hiding jacket. That's a very smart move he's learned over the movies.
Yes. And he had the size monitor, so he would know if there were any changes or graboids in the distance.
Mm-hmm. He did come prepared. He came fully prepared. Just the guns they didn't let him have. So you got to find creative, fun ways to kill these things, which works in the long run because it's great for us as the viewer to see what they can come up with.
Yes. I like it sometimes when they take away Bert's toys, because he does have to get resourceful.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny. I mean, let's face it, these movies are funny.
Oh, yeah.
They're fun. They're not meant to be serious. And I think one of the coolest things about it is Michael Gross and how he brings Burt Gummer to life, because for me, and I know I've said this before, he'll always be the dad from Family Ties. And he's out there being this survivalist, and I love it.
Mm-hmm.
It's just fun to watch him, because you can tell that he's having the time of his life in this part.
Oh yeah. Even, today he's gotten a lot older. You still ask him about this. He loves being Burt Gummer so much.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, mentioning that reference, I'll go ahead and throw out another big one that really made me realize. I was like, oh my gosh. So after Taba, poor Taba, the amazing Taba, loved him, was taken, just grabbed in talons and carried away. But they chase the ass blaster down, or the Inpundulu.
Yes.
And
I like that part.
Yeah.
We'll come back to that, but I really liked that story.
Mm-hmm.
I found that really cool.
But yeah, they find Taba on the bridge laying there, and yeah, immediately I was like, Jurassic Park 3, anyone? He's bait.
Yes. And Bert seemed to be careful. He knew. It's like he knew that one of them was hanging around. One of the ass blasters was there. So he was being very careful with his night vision goggles. Mm-hmm. He was monitoring the situation.
Right.
And he wanted to help Taba. He was ready to do what he could, but again, bait.
Mm-hmm.
So Taba filled in this movie as the Mr. Udesky character. Yeah. Because he's laying helpless on the bridge.
Mm-hmm.
He's half alive. I mean, there's not much left in him. I'm not sure he would have survived, even if they had been able to help him.
Yep. But yeah, he was the bait for this ass blaster in Pandulu to get the jump on Gummer and Dreyer. Luckily, they do both escape, because, what a machete throw there. And I love Dreyer's quote there. He's like, "You're like freaking Rambo." So good. But yeah, so they fly back into it's not really the village, but the zoo area that's run there, where Bert's not happy about the situation, and we see when he gets unhappy, he really likes his acronyms.
Oh God!
Those fart flaming sons of bitches have crushed your DMZ. You need to evacuate everyone ASAP. You were AWOL. Now we've got another KIA and a full-scale AB incursion.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. And shortly after, he had this nice little line for poor Travis. "This was a mistake having you along, just like a little pimple on the ass of progress."
Mm-hmm. There's a lot of really great lines and quotes right in that little moment. Because another one of my favorites is when Travis grabs him and turns him around. He goes, "Number 1, don't ever touch me like that. Number 2, don't ever touch me like that."
It's like, yeah, you should not have to. That should go without saying. And then right after, Nandi, who we will talk about Nandi, gives him a gun. And poor Bert, as he's been deprived of the equipment he needs to do the job. At least the job he wants to do, which is to kill them. He says to Nandi, "Where'd you get this?" And Nandi says, "You don't want to know." Followed by Bert replying with, "Ooh, I like your style." Because he doesn't care where they come from. He just needs the equipment to do the job. He feels like he's going in with one hand tied behind his back. He's handicapped in this situation without having what he needs.
Right. Yeah, it's a lot of great moments right there within that. Still kind of tense between him and Travis. He's very reluctantly had this guy tagging along with him the whole time. He still doesn't trust Van Wyck and Dreyer, which turns out to be pretty good instincts pretty soon.
Honestly, would you trust Travis? Travis arranges for Bert's videographer to go take a job in Vegas filming The Real Housewives so that Travis can be his new videographer.
Yeah, and
no one bothered to tell Bert this.
Right, and Bert knows there's like something that Travis is hiding.
Mm-hmm.
And there was, I mean, he had ulterior motives, but it wasn't really anything bad.
No, it wasn't. I mean, Bert didn't 100% want to go on this little mission, but it was this little gun that was traded to him by Travis that kind of put the icing on the cake to get him to go, and that was that HK-41, which he had to give to his wife.
Well, if he didn't make it out, I don't know.
I don't know.
That was, talk about, that was maybe one of my, like the best part of this movie to me is I really just enjoy Bert in the cage.
Oh my God, it was amazing.
All of that. I was like, I don't know how long he was in there, but he is losing it. Maybe he was only there for like an hour. That would have been hilarious.
I kept telling myself that that's what it was. That it was one of those things where
it's been 20 minutes. Might as well start drinking my pee.
And bathing in it.
Right. Like
he poured it on him, and all I could think is, wasn't Eric collecting dinosaur pee to use for something? Yeah. Yeah. He was bathing in it.
Yeah.
I did like his heartfelt message to Heather.
Yeah. Where he's tearfully missing his guns, and kind of her too.
Yes.
Maybe a little.
Yeah.
And then, by the end of his time in that cage, I mean, he was just about ready to lose it. He sees the seismograph thing going off, and he's just ready to rip a graboid apart from the inside if he has to. You know, he enjoys his little 30 seconds or so of lion shade. Doesn't enjoy the pee as much, but the shade is nice.
The lion peeing on him, I had a feeling that's what was going to happen as soon as the lion came into view. It's like, oh my God, this is going to be interesting.
And then having the cage drug behind the vehicle that Travis is driving. I'm just like watching all of this going, all of this had to be so fun to shoot. Like how they did, and it was like, man, I'd love to ask Michael Gross about it someday. So let's make that happen. Throwing it back out in the universe again.
Yes.
Let's see how we can do that.
We really need for that to happen.
Yes. But man, just watching the whole cage thing while he's in it and also with Travis hooking it to the truck. I'm like, this is all, like, it had to have been the most fun on set out of this whole movie, I feel like, is just figure out all the stuff in the cage, letting him just go crazy in there and then having the lion on set and then with the truck dragging it. All of that had to have been so much fun.
Yeah. It didn't take long. I mean, 1 minute we see him telling Van Wyck, you won't cage Bert Gummer. And then next second, it's broad daylight and he's in a cage. And then he's stripped off. And then he's given up. He's giving his last movie address. And then Travis shows up and says, you picked a bad time to meditate. Yeah. I don't think Bert was meditating.
No, I don't think so.
No. He was on the edge of a breakdown, I think.
Right. But yeah, at that point, him and Travis make a good team. They really do. Travis grows on him a lot more, even before the big reveal. They're working together good. You know, we have that moment where Travis is heading into the monster cave. Bert stays back to call in air support, get on the horn. It's like Bravers to the rescue, maybe. Maybe not Bravers as much, but the guns on the chopper definitely came in handy.
Yes.
Yeah, because Bravers does show up and his friend Charlie is immediately murderated by a graboid. And then he gets swallowed right after. And I was like, so that's the thanks he gets. Way to go, Bert. But
no.
But you've got a weaponized helicopter now, but at what cost?
All I could think the whole time was, oh, please, please, please don't let him be dead, because he's such a big part of the comic relief in this movie, and I need him to be alive, because the bromance between him and Bert was one of my favorite things.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Some of them going back to the helicopter. Bert yelling, "Move it, ladies," to a herd of cows as he's running through them will forever be wonderful to me. And yeah, so Bert and Travis get to the chopper, blast the graboid egg nest to Kingdom Come, and then Bravers is back. Yay! What a tough SOB.
Yeah.
But then Bert looks at the seismograph and goes, "And the bitch is back." And I was like, what? Elton John's in this movie now? Whoa.
No. 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 He's talking about the queen bitch graboid. That's what he's talking about.
But yeah.
But there was one other line exchange between Gummer and Travis that I really found funny. I mean, because there's so many in this. I don't want to quote the whole movie, but this was funny. After the cage goes off to the side of the road and flips upside down, because that's exactly what Bert Gummer was doing in this cage, was flipping he was in the cage, flipping all, and the cage was spinning, and yeah, it was kind of a shit show for him. He says to Travis, "You damn near broke every bone in my body." And Travis, he's oblivious, because he just says, "Yeah, what does that have to do with saving your life?" Everything. You know? But Bert was busted up maybe, but I don't think he broke any bones.
Right. Seemed to be all right.
He was ready to continue on with the mission.
Which, the mission and what happens, there's a lot of other things I want to talk about, but they're not really Bert-centric. So it kind of...
Right.
Getting back to Bert, I'm kind of getting to the end now. I do like that, with him working with Nandi, putting some puzzle pieces together that we actually got throughout the movie that was kind of fun. Because I have notes that are more under Nandi stuff, but I will go ahead and bring those up. Where I mentioned, Nandi and Amaje. But having it, where Travis walks up to Amaje, which, yes, I know it's spelled with an L, but she pronounced it with a J, and I'm going with her pronunciation in the movie. Where she's shocking the ground and bringing the worms up, and I was like, well, that's coming into play later.
Of course it is.
I've seen enough of these kind of movies to know exactly why they're showing us this. And then right after having Nandi mention the sun showers every day like clockwork, and I was like, well, that's definitely another puzzle piece that we're going to need. So yeah, time to put those pieces together. And lightning storm plus shocking worms out of the ground equals the plan that's needed to kill the final queen graboid.
Yes.
And the plan does work. Graboid gets blasted by lightning, and yay, pumpkin soup for everyone. Woo! Congratulations.
Yeah, I have to say this. I preferred the squash soup from the first Tremors movie. I just do. It's just me.
I mean, it was very similar.
Yeah, but it wasn't... No.
It still got me in the mood I was still watched it and went, now I'm ready for it to cool down outside so I can go get some autumn squash soup from Panera, not a sponsor. And then also the pumpkin spice latte reference that Travis made earlier in the movie. I was like, God, can it just be cold outside now, please?
No, it's getting chilly here, Pake.
Yeah, rub it in.
Yeah, it's been getting down to like 60. Yeah, let me look at the temp right now. Yeah, it's 50 degrees.
Oh my God. It's 75 here. It did, random tangent. Yeah, I went to a concert Tuesday night, and when I dropped my friend off at her place after the concert at like 3 a.m., it was 60 something, 63, 64 degrees then. So that was nice.
Yeah, but at 3 a.m., were you in the mood to go outside and just hang out?
I was ready to get home. Yeah, no, at that point. I need it to be that way all day or even colder. Much colder than that. But I'm ready for it. Let's make it happen.
You know how that could happen? You just need to go visit friends in cooler temperatures.
True. A good friend of mine just moved to Portland. I need to go visit her. Not your Portland, but
I know
the other coast.
Portland. But you're always welcome to come to this Portland.
Yes, that's true.
Because we have something really cool here. It's called seafood.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, they have that in the other one too.
Yes, but this is better seafood. We also have something else that you like.
Mm-hmm.
Limitless. And that's all I'm going to say.
All right. But yeah. So, yep. Watch this graboid explode, and it made me want the weather to cool down because I want pumpkin stuff. That's how that works in my brain. But yeah, and then we get our special... I mean, should have dropped the bomb if you were listening to this. You've watched the movie. We'll talk about the reveal later, but...
Unless you're Damien, who likes to listen and not watch the movie.
Right.
Hi, Damien.
But yeah, so
you should check this one out.
Right,
it's
definitely.
Fun.
So yeah, the movie ends, and the father-son relationship of Bert and Travis begins. Even into the credits a little bit, including a new trailer for the Survivalist series, starring both of them as a father and son team. It's pretty great.
I have to say this, Pake. I'm in on that series.
Right.
If that was a series I would watch. I would, because it seemed hilarious.
Yeah.
I'm in.
I'm not the biggest Jamie Kennedy fan. Like, he's not one of those names that where you see him and you're like, oh my God, I gotta see what he's doing. No. Sorry if you're listening, Jamie. I don't know if you will. Hopefully you do. We still love you. I love you in these movies. Yeah. Because I do. My first note on Travis, because I was done with Bert, was just saying, welcome to the Tremors universe, Jamie Kennedy. Because he's great. He fits this role so well, and he's so much fun to watch.
Well, I feel like at the beginning we got this great dirt bike montage with him to a song that I think is called Peculiar Boy. And so what I wrote down was Travis Welker is a peculiar boy as he does stunts on his dirt bike across the area in Nevada. He's a huge fan of Bert's and his new cameraman. Well, yes. I thought this movie had a different feel than the previous four. I don't know if it was shot differently or... I know that the movie producers were different. Like, those involved with the movie were different.
Well, I have a note about that where it said, is this movie the first in a dive of production value for the series? Absolutely. Do I still love Tremors deeply enough to watch this movie several times and love it every time? Also, absolutely.
Yes. 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 Oh, we're not going to stop. Right. We're going to finish this.
I say a dive in production value, but honestly, I mean the second and third one, especially the third one, though, CGI in that was rough. We talked about that when we went there. The CGI was still not the best in this movie, but it definitely was not. It could be worse. We've seen that.
I didn't recognize the ass blaster when it was on the screen. I'm like, this is bigger. Like, this is not what I remember.
It's a very different version of the ass blaster.
Yeah.
The African evolution.
Yes. Yeah, it's very different.
But yeah, before we go into Travis more, I don't know, I just jumped ahead. I don't know if you had any more notes on the wonderful Bert Gummer.
Go ahead and skip me, because, that's what you do. I'm just kidding. I did want to bring this up. When they blew up the graboid at the end, they also cooked it up after. And we're eating it. So my question to you is, would you eat a graboid?
I don't think so. That doesn't look delicious.
No.
I mean, I would try most things. Like, I would eat like slugs and bugs and stuff because I know people do, and it would probably be like that. My only concern is, like, I know this thing has just eaten a bunch of other people, and that's definitely in the whole system of the meat. And that's,
you don't know where those people have been.
Right.
You do not know where they have been.
Mm-hmm.
No. I'm not down.
Right.
No. I would not.
I
definitely,
we know it's
definitely
the
would
fake
not.
prank African tradition of the movie. You got to eat the worm, but
yeah, no, that's a fake prank. I did love that someone asked him if he ate the worm.
Right.
Yeah, I get the impression.
Probably a running joke for anybody who is like visiting that area.
I feel like it's something to do with Amaje. I feel like it's her little prank that she plays on everyone.
Right.
Yeah. I really didn't have anything else. I just really enjoyed Bert in this movie because he makes the movie for me.
Bert effing Gummer, you know.
Oh man, I feel like that should be a t-shirt.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, talk about Travis. You mentioned, when Travis shows up, he gives Riley, the cameraman, a new gig in Vegas and is just taking over, not as just the new camera guy, but also like social media manager and brand ambassador. He's going to take Gummer to new heights, you know.
He wants to vibe with Bert to build up the Bert Gummer brand.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he doesn't just want to be the videographer, like you said. He wants to be like the manager.
Yeah.
He wants to like take Bert and rocket him to stardom.
Right. And you can tell this is like 25 years after the first, and even like over a decade since the last one. The cultural references and things that are a lot more modern that show up. And I love Jamie Kennedy coming in to throw out those references, asking asking Bert about his Twitter, profile and his Twitter reach, or things, or even I love whenever Bert takes off his hat and he sees that he shaved his head and he's like, "What, were you watching too much Breaking Bad?" I'm like, that is amazing. I love it.
Oh, Bert! I don't think Bert quite knows what to think of Travis. I think he just looks at him like this big, I don't know, abominable snowman has walked into his world and is going to blow everything up. It just seems crazy to me.
But he sells him on himself at least enough pretty quickly because he sees Bert sitting there watching as Travis's negotiation skills come in handy a lot. Van Vick will fund the trip to South Africa and Bert's video series for 3 years. At least that's the deal they make. It's not going to happen now.
No. No.
Travis says he's a sexpert. Oh, sorry, that's a wrong podcast. Travis says he worked as a videographer for CNN and Fox in war zones, so he can be an asset to Bert.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, a little my Bam Bam slipped through there. And if anybody knows what that is, then I love you. But yeah, Travis is just, he comes on very strong. Not just with Bert. I love it. I was, his pickup lines to Nandi when they first meet. I was like, they come on very strong, but now I want coffee.
Yes.
Where she said, he's like, he calls her Dr. whatever her last name was. I'm sorry, I forgot it because I just called her Nandi in the rest of my notes.
Montabu.
Yeah. And then she was like, Nandi is fine. He was like, no, good Wi-Fi in a coffee shop is fine. And then he's like, you're like, and then he just like, he's like, you're like a caramel macchiato pumpkin spice latte. And this guy, I was like, it's a little strong. I do want coffee, so you're making me feel things, but not in the way you're the one.
I don't think that coffee shops were the sponsors for this movie. Maybe they were. Maybe that's why he said that. Maybe that was how they got funding for it. I don't know.
Well, they didn't say any by name, so.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, but we also learned that Travis is quite the online sleuth wizard. He did figure out Van Dick, as he calls him, situation a little too late, though. But then he's still able to find and save Bert through doing so.
Because that camera that was on the cage that Bert's been talking to the whole time.
Yeah.
Talking about how mad he's going and talking to it like it's his last will and testament. And yeah, it's just crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Bert's not used to that technology. He's used to his guns being high tech, but not other forms. Not a camera. I mean, he's used to his other toys that help him track the graboids, but not these high tech things like the cameras and stuff that Travis has. I almost called him Jamie just because, I don't know why, because it's Jamie Kennedy.
Yeah. I do like, again, with the reference, Travis has a nice Die Hard reference in the cave. Come down to the cave. Yeah. Okay. When he comes across the full nest of eggoids, let's call him, with this big old ass blaster protecting them. He does manage to drop that phosphorus grenade and get out, so that was nice.
Yeah, but it wasn't enough.
Not enough. It was enough for him to escape, but they needed the big guns to actually take that thing out.
I'm really surprised Bert let him go on such an important mission.
I know.
I mean, really. Bert knows from past situations that if you want something done right, do it yourself.
And maybe it speaks to how much he really had warmed up to Travis. He would never have let Melvin do something like that.
Oh my God, no. I think I even wrote in my notes, he's sending a boy to do a man's job. Only he doesn't know at that time that that's his son. Because I don't think he would have let him go in there. Although he seemed so confused. That whole conversation between the two of them about, was it Jasmine?
Yeah.
Was his mother? And the whole situation, he just says, well, what do you call Jasmine? What do you call her?
What is she to you?
Yeah. What is she to you? And he says, well, I call her Mom. And you could see Bert's mind is blowing.
Oh yeah. Well, that happens because the scene before this, we got Nandi's car bomb, which we will talk about. But then it was like after we get that, then Travis drops a bomb of his own right on Bert.
Yep.
Because he keeps mentioning this gun show in Florida throughout the movie. Because it turns out, that's where Travis's mother and Bert met for a quick fling. He was there at the gun show, and she was a super anti-gun, hippy dippy free love person, and they
burning her bra.
Met up in the way he says the far left met the far right, and just kind of
It was a long time ago.
It was funny. And then so I did wonder while watching this, I wondered if this reveal when they have this conversation, if it came as a shock to you watching this the first time, or if you had managed to figure out before this.
He called him Pops a few times.
Mm-hmm. Since the very beginning, even when they were in Nevada, he was calling him that a lot. And so you think it's just a weird pet name he calls older men? I don't know. So
no, I kind of gathered there was something there. I just wasn't 100% sure until he said when he's talked about his mother and the gun show, and Bert put the pieces together and they talked it out. That's when I found out for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, they didn't hide it.
Mm-mm.
It wasn't something that was hidden. I bet if I watched it again, I would notice a lot of little things that would point in that direction.
Uh-huh.
But in a first watch, it's always... I'm paying attention to everything that's going on because I think that it could be it's tied to something that's coming at the end. So a lot of the things didn't go anywhere, but there were the little things that point into this. And I think it's interesting because I think they're more alike than what Bert thinks.
Oh yeah, he's standing there going there's no way you're my offspring. And I'm like, he's standing in South Africa on an armored truck with bullets all strapped around his body with this giant gun hunting graboids, but you don't think he's related to you?
Really? What was your
He has
first
a really
clue?
Strong personality that can be kind of off-putting to people, but he's not related to you.
No, not in any way. No, I was not. It wasn't a huge surprise as far as... No, because they're very similar in the way they have the strong personalities, like you said. And I've just found their relationship throughout the movie. It just continued to grow. Because I feel like in the beginning, Travis was treating him like a project, like something he needed to fix. And at the end, he realized that he didn't need to fix him. That he was Bert and it was okay.
Mm-hmm.
Being Bert Gummer was enough. He wanted to promote him, and I get the feeling he's known that Bert was his father for a long time.
Yeah.
I don't think it was something new to him.
It just took him a while to finally decide, like, I'm just going to go take this shot. I'm going to see what happens.
Yeah. Knowing him, he probably he came up with the plan and put all the pieces together and took the time to get where it needed to be in order to go do. He was waiting for the right opportunity. Mm-hmm. And this opportunity presented itself, although I don't believe he thought he would be running off to Africa with gums, which is what he calls Bert, too. He calls him Pops and he calls him Gums.
Or Gummy Bear a lot, too.
And Gummy Bear. And Bert hated that. Oh, my God. Bert was not happy with that. Not happy at all.
Right.
But I'm really surprised that Bert even agreed to the capturing part of this plan.
Right.
That doesn't seem like the Bert Gummer that we know.
Mm-hmm.
But also, these people did not understand just what the graboids are like, what the ass blasters are like, that they're really dangerous. It's not like you're capturing an elephant. Speaking of elephants, when they brought the elephants in at the start of the movie, I was thinking, oh no, what's going to happen to the elephants? And then I'm thinking, how does a graboid eat an elephant? Not one bite at a time, because, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, luckily we didn't have to worry about that.
No, that was good.
Yeah. But Travis has some great moments of his own. We've talked about a lot of them. Of course,
yeah.
You know, when Amage is surrounded, which I thought was also really cool. These, like, the two tentacles that are free range, as Bert calls them, that are detached from the main graboid.
Oh, but you can't. Pake, if you're going to talk about those detached graboids, you cannot proceed without saying his number one line in all movies. Yeah. Why is it that critical need to know information never gets to Bert Gummer?
Right. Yeah, you get a little excited hearing critical need to know information coming back up. You're like,
I know. I'm like, yes. It's like Steve when he likes to do the title of the movie in a mic drop. Mm-hmm. In this movie series, when that line comes up, it's you're waiting for it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the free range tentacles that is critical need to know information never gets to Bert Gummer. And then it was pretty obvious that Van Vick was a goner as soon as he fell off the rocks onto the ground. But I really loved the change up of, you know, the whole time you're expecting a graboid to just bust out of the ground underneath him. And then when it comes flying out of the ground further away, it's spinning, and then it comes down from on top of him from above. It's like, oh, beautiful. Mwah, magnifique.
Yeah, basically graboids swimming and leaping out of sand like whales and dolphins in the water. Mm-hmm. It was very cool.
Yeah. But anyway, so these free-range tentacles have kind of trapped Amage encircling her like some creepy face-hugger-looking snakes. Yeah. It was pretty cool, 'cause she has the last egg. They want it. But then it was time for a stuntman that vaguely sort of looks like Jamie Kennedy to pull some motocross magic and distract the grabbers and take the egg while Baruti runs in to save the girl. Nick DeWitt was the name of the stunt rider's name. It was, by the way, just because I happened across that information, I was like, yeah, let's give him a shout out.
Of course.
He did a lot of great tricks in this movie. He had fun, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah. And you're a fan of motocross.
Yeah.
What would you give the motocross riding in this movie?
Oh, he was great. I don't know the name of Nick DeWitt. I haven't ever seen him in professional motocross stuff in, capacity, but I'm sure he's a stuntman, like Hollywood stuntman, I'm sure. Mm-hmm. And he did some great stuff here. Like I said, he vaguely looks like Jamie Kennedy. There's a couple of shots when he's circling that little pit. I was like, it's definitely not Jamie Kennedy, but you know what? We'll go with it.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, that's all the notes I had on Travis.
When I was thinking about sending a boy to do a man's job, I also was thinking that Travis, I don't know what Travis thought he was going to find in that cave, because he goes in there and I get the feel, I don't know. He seemed real freaked when he realized what was in there. And it's like, I just kept thinking, what did you think you were going to find in there?
Right.
It was not going to be like Woodland Critters Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
It was, and if you know, you know. And actually, Woodland Critters Christmas is not really a good thing, because it's a South Park reference to demonic forest creatures. I just don't know what he thought he was going to find in there.
Right.
I mean, really.
Mm-hmm.
I did love that he included his middle initial.
Travis B. Welker.
It's the survivalist with Burt Gummer and Travis B. Welker. And I'm just like, I don't know.
Even when
why.
he introduces himself at the very beginning of the movie, that's his Travis B. Welker.
I expected Esquire at the end.
Right.
What's going on? You know what?
Maybe his middle name is Bertrand, something like that. Maybe he's named after his illegitimate father.
Okay. I'm down with that. That's cool. One thing I wanted to mention, though, since we were talking about I thought it was an amphitheater, because honestly, at the end, there was that circle, and poor little Amage was trapped in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
People were around, cheering as they were running through with the motorcycle. And I'm just like, is this like Rome? Are we having, are these some sort of games that people are going to attend and enjoy watching? I'm pretty sure that poor little girl's in there scared.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's all I had. I feel like we should talk about Nandi, because I really liked her. She was fun.
Yeah, I have kind of a section of notes that's like her and Baruti and Amage all kind of together as a team. Even though Nandi and Baruti are not together, although he wishes. He can dream, right? To dreams.
You know what? Tell me this, Pake. If you had to choose between Baruti and Travis, who would you pick?
That's a hard call. I mean, just as far as what they're capable of. They both showed themselves very well throughout this movie.
Yes. I feel, honestly, I'm Team Baruti, and the reason I'm Team Baruti is because Nandi is a lot like Travis, and I think she needs Baruti to balance her life.
Yeah, that's a good point.
That was going through my head watching him, because I started thinking, are you watching this, Nandi? Because he's protecting your daughter over and over again with no care to what could happen to him.
Right.
And he immediately thinks about her and rescuing her. Travis really doesn't. I mean, he helps in the process to keep her safe, but I just feel like Baruti's more invested, and he is like the yin to her yang. I think that they are a good match together.
Yeah, definitely. And then they just have a lot of cultural understanding with the tribe and things, which I was a little confused, even like watching it again this time, because it's been a while since the last time I saw it, where with, most people seem to have no clue of the threat of these monsters that are around, which is why they brought Bert in. But then the natives are very well versed in the Impundulu and the Incanyamba. And so I was like, well, why are they not telling anybody what's going on? But then that's when I realized that like Dreyer and Van Vick are outsiders. They're not really involved with this tribe. They're poachers from the outside who are just kind of weaseled their way in. So of course the tribe has nothing to do with them.
Of course not. I liked that tribe piece. I liked Travis going into town with Nandi and hearing this story. I thought it was a nice touch.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so the Impundulu is their name for the ass blaster, which sounds a little bit better than ass blaster.
Yes.
And then, the graboids are the Incanyamba. So I like the terms, I like the names, because it goes way back. We see cave drawings at the beginning of the movie, and then even when Travis is in that other cave later, that like going way back in this tribe's history, like even prehistoric possibly.
Yeah, long before 1990.
Yeah, that this has just kind of been a part of this part of the world and their culture.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I really appreciated that as well.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was quite funny when Baruti decides to stay back while people were being evacuated, and then Travis decides to stay back as well. That Nandi just looks at them and tells them not to shoot each other.
I know, she's immediately like, they're trying to
yes.
win my
She's
affections.
in the middle.
And so I was like,
yeah,
it's Travis versus Baruti. The winner gets Nandi's affection. If she wants it, because she's a free woman and can do what she wants.
Exactly. And I like that. I like that they didn't have her choose someone.
Right.
But she was staying where she was and Travis was leaving. I just felt like it was good. I didn't need the, what do they call it?
Like a love triangle?
Well, no, it's, never mind. It will come to me later. Yeah. I didn't need that at the end. I didn't need like a love story at the end. I like that she went back and was going to sit with Baruti and Amache. But she didn't go back and start making out with him. Uh-huh. Even though I shipped them. I didn't need the movie to end like that.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mentioned again with the tribal stuff is I like when she's talking with Travis there. There's all these things that they know that are helpful typically. That the creatures are nocturnal with their hunting habits, because it makes sense. The African heat is going to throw off their infrared sensors quite a lot during the day.
Yes.
But yeah, things start getting a little weirder with the graboids, and they start acting peculiarly. They're ignoring infrared, heat sensors, and they're targeting people during the day, and they're acting out in ways that they shouldn't. And there's another call out to Jurassic Park 3 is because they're after the eggs. Their eggs have been stolen. So many Jurassic Park. I think this movie was the Tremors series love letter to Jurassic Park. Mainly,
I think so,
strangely enough, 3 has the most references to it. With the eggs and the bait and the things like that. But then also going back to the original Jurassic Park, I mean, come on, there is a kitchen scene with very similar shots, which I enjoyed a lot.
When I heard the graboid outside the door, I honestly thought it sounded like one of the raptors. But then when it breaks in and it's walking forward and it has that one claw, that, I was just like, oh my gosh. It was great. Mm-hmm.
The kitchen was set up very similar with the same kind of like steel appliances with the reflective surfaces and all that. It's like, is this the Jurassic Park kitchen set?
You never know. I didn't look into that, but it could be. I did wonder if Nandi's arrows were going to work.
Oh, yeah, because she's going to take on an Impundulu with a bow and arrow. I was like, okay.
Of course she is.
I have to give some love to the Tremor series for its use and showcase of strong, badass women. They always make sure to do that, and I do really appreciate that.
Yeah, me too. I like Nandi. I think she was well written, and she was a lot of fun to watch. And she was strong. She didn't need anyone. She was careful and did things on her own. Mm-hmm. And I appreciated that a lot.
Yeah, because they've always had very capable women.
Yeah, even going back to the first one, Pake, with Rhonda. Mm-hmm. Like, she was so smart. She was, geologist. She was really strong. And Heather. Let's not forget Heather Gummer.
Right.
You can't forget her because she was super strong, too. Bert was strong, but Heather, together, I think they were a dynamic duo. Mm-hmm. If we ever did a list of dynamic duos, they would have to be near the top of the list.
Oh, yeah.
They just
absolutely would. And yeah.
In my Tremors world, if I were allowed to make the last movie, Heather would come back into Bert's life.
Yes.
And they would ride off into the sunset together.
I need more Reba.
You talked about Reba in the very first episode of Run for Your Lives. You did.
I did, in fact. Uh-huh.
If you want to hear what Peg said about Reba, then you're going to have to go way back to episode 1 of Run for Your Lives.
Yes, nice plug. But yeah, I like that scene because you mentioned it, and I have a note about that too. I was like, good guy, Baruti. Because he's protecting Amaje at every chance he gets. Again, with the roof.
Yes.
But yeah, he's just owning it all the way up until that, Nandi comes in and kills an ass blaster with a bow.
2 arrows that go through the table. Almost striking him in a place that you wouldn't want to be hit with an arrow.
Right.
However, I like that they used the motorbike to lead them away, but I also appreciated that when they were hatching this plan, even though hatching involves the egg that Amaje was keeping in her bag, we didn't want it to hatch. It was the last of the Bloodline, which Bloodline had a dual meaning in this movie, so...
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. Baruti was the first one to say he was going to get Amaje. He was ready to go and do it. Mm-hmm. He cares about this little girl. Again, I'm shipping them.
Took great care of her and getting them where they needed to go. I love their plan, Nandi and Baruti's plan, when they take out the one graboid with the decoy bomb jeep. Mm-hmm. Incredible. Of course, there's the one lapse in judgment they made. Because I have a little note about that when they go in to check in that store. And I said, sure, let's leave the kid in the Jeep holding the egg that the graboids are violently hunting us over.
Yeah, no, let's not. Parenting 101 probably would fail you on that.
Right. But yeah, that's all the notes I have on them. It's kind of a group. I do have a couple extra notes on, the poachers, maybe.
Yeah, I have a few on them too. And we already talked about my Bloodline note. Because until they mentioned the word Bloodline when it talked about that last remaining egg, for me, this movie, Bloodlines meant Bert and Travis. Mm-hmm. That was what I took Bloodlines to be.
Yeah. Double meaning.
So what do you have? What do you have for notes?
All right. Talking about... Yeah, so the rest, I have some stuff on the poachers and then some graboid stuff, I think, that I haven't gotten to. But poachers, so I've gotten through most of it. Like I said, I actually did really enjoy the character of Dreyer. His cocky kind of toughness, because he had some fun moments. Van Vick wanting to capture them was bad. Not good.
Stupid.
Because even before you realize he's a poacher... of course, Dreyer's downfall, as it was always going to be, is not listening to Bert. You kind of could figure that pretty early on with their relationship.
Yes.
He takes off running when Bert tells him to stay. Because Bert had saved him twice from ass blasters directly. And then after the second time he saves him, he gets killed by being crushed by the flaming corpse of one after Bert exploded it.
That was perfect.
After getting up and saying, I'm South African, you can't kill me. So that was great.
I applauded when that happened. I was so happy.
See, I was sad then. Because I'd forgotten about something. And then and Van Vick was a dirty, rotten poacher after the live ass blaster. But a graboid egg will do just fine. And Dreyer worked for him. And we find out Dreyer went out and stole baby cheetahs and things like that. So I was like, well, his death is less sad now. So
no. Oh, he could go. Yeah, no patience for that.
But yeah, those are the notes there. And then, just some graboid notes things. We get some different evolutions, gravolutions, in South Africa. We're starting off, they're snacking on a poor crippled man. Rip. R.I.P. Basson, even though I guess he was another poacher too, so maybe not.
So no R.I.P.
And then the archaeologist couple that we're just kind of there randomly. I was like, oh, who are these people going to be? What are we going to get with them? And then it literally just amounted to the graboid going, you're getting shower water all in your wine and it's gross and I won't stand for it. Die. That was it for that.
Yeah, I thought that, honestly, at some parts of that whole scene of them getting killed, it was almost like a sex scene. I thought it was just kind of odd.
Right.
And when I saw this whole process unfold, I thought, if you're an archaeologist and you're digging for graboid fossils, make sure their descendants are not nearby. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, you're just a buffet.
Right.
Because that's what happened. I mean, but it was important for them to have unearthed that graboid because Bert needed to see how much bigger they were and how they were different.
Bigger, yet leaner.
And leaner.
So I was like, awesome, fun.
Yeah.
Then we see the Impundulu for the first time, the one that took Taba. And it is a very unique looking ass blaster. It's bigger, more round, more rotund. It has bat-like wings.
Yeah.
It's like big, like oval mouth full of teeth all around it. Very,
Yeah. Not something I want to meet.
Talon-like claw legs.
More like velociraptors.
Yeah. Yeah, and then I talked about, they've been acting strange, and it's because of the eggs. And yeah, then we kind of covered all of that. So I think that is, at this point, all I have.
All right. Well, let's see what I have, because I might have a couple little things left. But we just covered the archaeologist, which was one thing that I had that I know we hadn't covered. Let's see. I thought that Van Wyck's toy gun presentation was a bit of a joke. The guns that he was giving Bert in place of the guns that Bert brought with him, they were just like toys. They look like toys compared to what Bert usually uses.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. In Africa, everything is bigger. We learned that very quickly.
It's like it's the Texas of the rest of the world outside of the US.
Yes. Yes. Oh yeah, and when the first Ass Blaster appeared on the screen, all I wrote down was, what the fuck is that? Because it doesn't resemble the Ass Blaster that was carrying Manuel. I think it's Manuel.
Yeah.
Off to his death. Mm-hmm. In the third one?
Yep.
Back to Perfection? Yeah. Yeah, no. Didn't really... No. No. Definitely not. Okay. I think this is everything that it's everything that I had for notes. I did like the graboids in this. I liked the swimming effect of them going in and out of the sand. It was something different than what we had really seen before. I also liked the little snake-like talons, or what did you call them? Their little...
Yeah, I think they're referred to as grabbers at one point.
The grabbers.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really liked those as well. They kind of look like snakes. I don't like snakes, but I thought it was kind of cool. We got something a little bit different.
Yeah.
And I'm really curious about number 6 now because, yeah, I'm not sure what the story will be told. Maybe we'll be going on these, survivalist adventures with Bert and Travis.
There's some fun stuff coming up for 6. Some
okay.
Interesting new characters with different ties and things. I won't say much more, but it'll be fun. You'll enjoy it. I think so.
Will you tell me this? Am I going to get more Travis?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Because I kind of want to see what happens next with Travis and Bert and their relationship. Because it's kind of like a Pandora's box at this point. I mean, anything can really happen, and it could be terrifying. Or not. So, yeah, I think that's all that we have for our regular notes.
Oh, cool.
So, that means we're ready for some behind the scenes.
Sounds great.
Little tidbits? Okay, well. So, Bloodlines was the first film in the Tremors series that wasn't directed by Ron Underwood, S.S. Wilson, or Brent Maddock. It's also the first in the series not to directly involve Stampede Entertainment. Film is loosely based on a script that S.S. Wilson and Brent Maddock wrote in 2004, after the release of Tremors 4, The Legend Begins. They were also initially on board to be producers. However, due to lack of creative control over the project, they decided to step down. John Welpley wrote Bloodlines. He also wrote the screenplay for Tremors 3, Back to Perfection. Interestingly enough, director Don Michael Paul had never seen a Tremors movie. The first time that he did see them is when Michael Gross sat him down to watch while they were filming the movie. It's like, oh.
So if he had never seen anyone, didn't have a lot of the backstory on what these things were, I bet a lot of the history of graboids was probably Michael Gross explaining to him, here's what they are. Here's what, like, I'm the one who's been here and knows what everything is here.
Yes. Here it is. Luckily, Michael Gross has appeared in all the Tremors films, so he can share that knowledge. Kevin Bacon had initially expressed some interest in returning to the franchise, but ultimately he decided not to. The movie was filmed at an actual wildlife reserve in South Africa. Volunteers there helped the crew with a lot of different tasks, including holding the horses still and moving a temporary lion cages to a location. The film will mark the third continent graboids have surfaced. They have appeared in Nevada and Mexico in North America, Argentina in South America, and now in Africa. Travis makes a deal with Bert about an HK-91 in Tremors 2 Aftershocks. Bert explains his divorce and said he had to send his ex-wife, Heather, an HK-91.
Ah, that's why he was happy to get another one, because he lost his old one. Yeah.
Yeah, and when I was watching it and I found this, I was thinking, did Travis go get that from Heather?
I wonder if that is the same one. That would be.
I have to wonder. Like, I'm wondering that, right? It's crazy. I'm not supposed to think so deeply about this film, but you still do. Two characters stealthily avoiding an ass blaster in a cluttered kitchen is a nod to a similar scene involving velociraptors in Jurassic Park. Yes, and we also just in this podcast talked about other nods to Jurassic Park 3, specifically. There is an extra scene during the ending credits, which we talked about. It's The Survivalist with Burt Gummer and Travis B. Welker trailer.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to end with this. In between our coverage of Tremors 4, The Legend Begins, and 5, Bloodlines, Fred Ward passed away on May 8th, 2022. Though he is remembered for many roles, we here at Run for Your Lives will always remember him as Fred Bassett.
Yes, absolutely.
Rest in peace, Fred Ward.
Mm-hmm.
And that is all I have.
Nice. Glad you included that too. Oh my goodness. Another reference to Jurassic Park 3? Oh my. Let's see if I can go pick up this feedback phone and see what's going on. And we do have a little bit of feedback this week from a couple of different movies, a few different things. Got some love on Facebook, for sure, with some people. So the first one is for Poseidon Adventure a couple weeks ago. We've got 2 notes from that one. First one, well, I'll let you take that, from our wonderful friend, Jerry.
Yes. Jerry says, it gives, quote, dancing on the ceiling a whole new meaning. I think I made that joke.
I think you made that one in this episode.
I did. I'm not known for my puns, but I do think I think I did that one.
Yeah. So yeah, pun points for Daphne.
I'll take them where I can get them.
And then, of course, our listener friend here, Howard Bannister, says, loved your recap on the Poseidon Adventure he's referring to, and thank you so much for that.
Thank you. Thanks, Howard. So, we got this message from Shenandoah. She said she saw this particular tweet on Twitter, And it goes, after 4 years, my girlfriend still gives me butterflies every time I see her. The second sentence is, she knows I'm terrified of butterflies. They've taken over my home. Why does she do this to me? She's so mean. Someone please help me. And Shenandoah said, first thing I thought of at the beginning of your 2-minute horror stories.
Nice.
Yeah, I think that's real. Like, and this is an old tweet, but yeah, it's kind of
funny.
cool.
It's funny. All right. And then for this one right here with Tremors 5, our friends, our pals over on Twitter, the Tremors Saga. We've had some back and forth with them when it comes to these times. And that's what they said is they go, oh boy, it's that time again. Sign us up. So hopefully you listened. Hopefully you've enjoyed. And so I definitely did talk about that possible Tremors Film Festival thing in New Mexico. I talked about that in this episode, and it was because of your Twitter account, Tremors Saga, that I saw that. So if you're listening to this and you end up having any kind of ends or anything on that, hook a boy up. We might have to get together on that. We're on Twitter. We'll talk.
Yes, definitely. And so what would an episode of Run for Your Lives be if we didn't have a voicemail from Steve Brown? Well, we kind of know because he missed a couple episodes, but he is back to talk about Tremors 5. So let's go ahead and give it a listen.
Hello, Pake and Daphne. This is Steve. I cannot believe we're at the end of the season. And here we are, Tremors 5, Bloodlines. Okay, hour and 38 minutes. I can do that. The Survivalist. You know, there was a book series in the 80s and 90s called The Survivalist. Use that same font. What a great way to catch us all up on all the different graboid types and what's been going on. The ass blast.
Yes.
Dude, seriously, you're going to the bathroom that close to him? That's just wrong. What is it with this movie and people going to the bathroom? Michael Gross didn't get the top credit. He gets the and credit. Okay, new guy's pretty funny. I'll give it to him. What's his name? I know it's Jamie Kennedy, but what's the character name? Budkama in Africa for 3 years of video work. Seriously, a 3-day weapons quarantine? I don't get it. Okay, these are not the guns that Burt Gummer uses. Okay, Travis, you got some lines on you. You got some pickup lines. She gave you a little glimmer. Oh, I kind of hope that these two archaeologists might make it, but yeah, no. Oh, what makes you think this tribal dance is not going to end well? Whoa. Okay, that thing is a cross between an ass blaster and a shrieker, I guess. Dude cut it and survived. Oh, almost survived. No, Thaba is bait, dude. They fought to take off. That's funny. Is Bert on board with capturing one of these? He just said unhook the cage. Oh. No. Bert killed it, but then it landed on the guy. Oh. And now Bert is alone in this cage. The absurdity of this succession of scenes. I don't know how long he's actually been out here for, but dang. And of course, Travis shows up just in time to drag him across the desert. So really, has this turned into more of a people-on-people thing or a graboid thing? Come on. I mean, they were talking about Van Wyck. She's walking around with bow and arrow. What? Okay, there's the flying one. Yeah, this is very Jurassic Park, Jurassic whatever, like with the guy stalking, the thing stalking them in the kitchen. The claws, like hitting the ground. Are those her arrows that went through the thing? Oh, yeah. And they just barely missed his crotch. Wow, they've not only gone free range, they've gone free aerial. Graboids that talk. Travis is going in. I feel safer already. So he's got his helicopter pilot coming in heavy. Love the Die Hard reference by Travis right here in the caverns. There was way too much for me to comment on all the homages that were in that. Travis is out now. Well, there goes the chopper pilot. So what's the plan? They're going to run to the chopper and then shoot and hope it explodes and kills the beast? Hey, is Bert going to turn out to be Travis's father? And the helicopter pilot got spat out. So which one is with the woman and the man and the kid? It's a different one than what's with Bert. Seriously? Okay. Oh, gosh. It's Tremors.
Thanks, Steve, for sharing your insight with us. It's always fun to listen to what you think. If you'd like to submit feedback, like Steve, Shenandoah, Howard, or Jerry, or our friends over at the Tremors Saga on Twitter, you can do so by going to our Facebook page at facebook.com/runforyourlivespodcast. You can email us at runforyourlivespodcast@gmail.com. Tweet at us at RFYL Podcast on Twitter. DM us on Instagram at Run For Your Lives Podcast. If you're enjoying the show, tell your friends. We are available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, pretty much all other podcast players, including YouTube. Go to runforyourlivespodcast.com for all the links you'll ever need, and give us a review on Apple Podcasts, as that's the best way to share the love and get us out there even more. We really appreciate it.
Absolutely we do. And of course, talk about sharing the love. Got to give some shout outs to things going on in the podcast universe around us. My other podcast, Strange Indeed, me, Rima, and Jason, still running through Lock and Key. We did episode 7 of the final season out of 8 episodes. So the finale is next week. We're getting close. It's been interesting, to say the least, to cover this last season. I've watched the finale at this point, even though we're not covering it till next week. I'm glad that they ended it the way that they did. I will say that there's a little tease that the ending was really good, and made up for a lot of things that maybe this last season was a little rocky on, but that's okay. We've had a blast talking about it. Anyway, it's been good over there, so go check out our coverage if you're a Lock and Key fan. And of course, this week we also, on Strange Indeed, after our Lock and Key coverage, we're back on Great British Bake Off, or Great British Baking Show, depending on what side of the pond you're on. And yeah, it is back. Series 10 for the American audiences on Netflix. It's confusing because it's actually like series 13 for the UK. It's a whole thing. But yeah, it is back, and we covered the first episode in a very short little segment. We really did try to keep it very short, just fresh out of the oven, hot takes. But it was a blast. It was just so feel good to talk about the Bake Off again. So if you're a fan of that, also kind of check out that little bit over on Strange Indeed. Other things going on in Podcastica, which is where Strange Indeed is. Man, Jason and Podcastica and everybody over there is just so busy. A lot of stuff going on. Of course, Andor, the episodes are out now. First 3 episodes are available on Disney Plus, and so the episodes should be up soon. I want to say, if it's not up right now, it should be up very soon, because I know Jonathan and James recorded when you're listening to this either today or yesterday. So it should be up pretty soon. So definitely check out Andor coverage over there on the Star Wars TV cast. Cobra Kai cast, Jason, Richard, and Rima still breaking down the episodes of Cobra Kai. This season has been fantastic. A lot of fun. So if you're a fan of Cobra Kai, check that out. Anwin and Penny over on the Cast of the Ring, still running through Rings of Power as that's going on. And then Dragon Cast with Rima and Kristen, covering House of the Dragon on HBO, which, oh my God, has been so freaking good.
Yeah.
Man, that is like appointment. I'll say appointment. I work Sunday nights, so I can't watch it when it's on, but like, first chance I get, I watch it when I get home.
Yeah.
Like it's
yeah, you have to, because spoilers are everywhere if you don't watch it. Yeah, it's been really great so far. It's already renewed for season 2, so you can get invested and know that there's going to be a payoff.
Also, She-Hulk cast with Penny and Greg. She-Hulk has been incredible as well. I'm having a blast with She-Hulk. And they're having a lot of fun covering that over there. A lot of laughs, a lot of fun. So definitely check that out. Sandman cast with Mark and Jamie. Actually, they are off this week due to some personal stuff going on, whatever, but they should be back next week. But they've been running through that, been doing great coverage of that. So definitely, if you haven't listened to any of that, go back and listen to, I think the first 6 episodes are up right now. So definitely go check those out. And then on Handmaid's Tale podcast, that's back up and running. Things are going there. How's that been going?
Well, it's a dark and twisted world, Gilead, and we're having about as much fun as you can have talking about it, because it's pretty deep and dark sometimes.
I'm glad you said Gilead after the dark, because I was like, Canada's not that bad. No,
yeah, no, Gilead's pretty bad. But I'm having a great time being back with Wendy and Jason and talking about it again.
So yeah, so those podcasts, I listed all of those out, and then go follow them all separately if you're fans of all those shows. But if you love it all and you want it all in one place, you can also just subscribe and find House Podcastica, the podcast, and episodes of all of those shows are up on that as one umbrella combined podcast for all of those. So a lot of good stuff on Podcastica for you to go check out. Also on Podcastica, of course, the Walking Dead cast on its own, doing its own thing. So Tales of the Walking Dead they've been covering is done with now. They've released all of those. So we go listen to coverage of Tales of the Walking Dead and some YouTube after shows that they did for the past 2 episodes.
Yes!
So those are pretty cool.
We might do some more of the after show discussions, or even just put together some roundtable discussions about shows that we don't cover.
Mm-hmm. I could see some weekly conversations going on about Yellow Jackets whenever that premieres for season 2.
Wendy and I have already, we're definitely down on that because there's just that show. I think about what it's like to wait a couple days or a day or two to podcast about it, but my immediate reaction is sometimes different than it is, or at least it's just more explosive, like, holy shit, what did I just watch?
Right. Or From, when it returns also for season 2, I could see a lot of... Yeah, I mean, that format really works for shows that have weekly releases and not like Netflix shows like me and Rima cover on Strange Indeed.
Yeah, it doesn't really work. And honestly, I don't think it works for Handmaid's Tale because the episode comes out at whatever, it's released at a certain time. And depending on when it is, it's either the middle of the night or, when do you do a reaction show?
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't, I don't think it
works for the shows that are still hanging on to like cable.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Let's see. Anything? Oh yeah. Walking Dead cast. Yeah. I talked about those. Also, as they're gearing up for the final part of the final season, Walking Dead episode 11C or season 11C, the final season coming back sooner than we think in October. So kind of between now and then, because I think we've got like a week or 2, they will be releasing, I know Jason's doing it, I don't know who he's got on there with him, but covering one of Jason's favorite movies, Fargo. So be on the lookout for that within the next week over on Walking Dead Cast.
That is such a great movie. So interesting and different and just Coen Brothers madness, really.
And then, of course, we got to give some love to TV podcast industries. They're the hard workers over there on that podcast covering all of these kind of shows. Because, again, right now they are currently covering She-Hulk, Sandman, and Rings of Power. So they finished up their Umbrella Academy, looks like. So that's good. Lots of stuff over there still. And they're working hard, just like multiple podcasts a week.
Yeah.
So, we got to get Derek back whenever he's not busy, which is never.
I know. I know. We have to figure out. We know the movie. We just have to figure out when we're going to do it.
Yeah.
So I'll reach out to him and we'll get that scheduled.
It'd be great. Love you, Derek. All right. But finally, after all those shout outs, we're going to give ourselves some love. Self-love is important. Self-care is great.
Yes, it is.
No. But what's going on next week right here on Run for Your Lives?
Well, we're one step closer to episode 100. We have reached something that has become very popular on Run for Your Lives. Our end of season look back special. We're going to be talking about our favorite movies, monsters, and characters from season 4. And there might be something a little special thrown in too. And if you want information on what's going to happen on episode 100, you're just going to have to wait and listen to next week's episode to find out what that is.
Yeah.
With that, we have reached the end of our episode. Thanks, everyone, for listening. I'm Daphne.
And I'm Pake.
And if you have to run from graboids, ass blasters, shriekers, or whatever is in between, you better run for your lives.
Bye-bye.